Hi, I'm Kelly Rowlett-Presgrave. I'm president and CEO of Work With Your Hands, and we are so proud to be a sponsor of Power Women of the Trades podcast. You can reach us at workwithyourhands.com. Kelly at workwithyourhands.com is my email.
Chiirp is the ultimate automation toolbox for home service businesses. Chiirp helps you capture more leads, connect faster, close more deals, and create customers that will buy from you over and over again. Using text message, email, and ringless voicemail automation, with Chiirp, you can maintain perfect follow-up throughout the entire customer journey. Learn more about how to transform your customer experience on chiirp.com today. CHIIRP.
This episode is also brought to you by Relentless Digital Marketing. More information on them in the show notes. Thank you for being a sponsor. We appreciate you.
Welcome to Power Women of the Trades podcast. This show is all about breaking barriers and changing the game. Our guests will feature some of today's most successful female entrepreneurs and other advocates of our industry as well. Because if there's one thing we know for sure, female-led entrepreneurship drives change on multiple levels. We want to empower women in the trade industry like you so you can maximize your potential, stay balanced, achieve long-term success, and claim ownership over your life. Let's get started.
Hey there, Power Women. This episode is a continuation of last week's segment. To learn more about our guest, check out the show notes below. And to make sure you're not missing out on anything, check out last week's episode where we started the interview and got to know our guest a bit better. Welcome back and enjoy.
So I have a dental assisting background. And when I say background, what that means is I went to dental assisting school and then I did my internship and decided that that was gross. And I don't do dental assisting. That's my background. However, I compare a lot of times when I'm teaching CSRs or talking to other companies, our experience to a dental experience from the customer service side, not the getting the shot in your mouth stuff. That's not what we're talking about. But whenever you go to the dentist and you have your cleaning done, before you leave, they have you make an appointment. And then if you're like, nah, I'll get back to you, they have you on a drip. They're going to start messaging you and they're going to say, hey, it's time for your visit. And then you don't do it. And then they're going to send you another one. And they're constantly doing that. And so I try to mimic a lot of things that we do based off of that experience.
Right.
And they're going to go, or when you go and get your teeth cleaning, you're going to get a treatment plan and then you're not going to choose to have anything done. But then they're going to contact you and they're going to say, hey, you have a filling that's needed. They're going to do those types of things. That's the same thing that we're doing. And basically, not to say that it was done first, because theirs is probably just in, I know it is actually in a software. But this has been what you're doing is taking that, making it for the trades and then available to all softwares. And so that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And we find like one of the biggest problems in trades is differentiation, right? That's like you're always trying to differentiate your business from the other people. Because at the end of the day, the customer just wants a warm house, right? They don't. And so we've found that one of the really easy ways to quickly differentiate yourself is good communication. It's really shocking how bad communication is in the trades and a lot of companies.
Yes.
And so and everybody
especially
smiles
when you start listening to call recordings.
Yeah, call recordings, everything, and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you said that.
It can hurt a little bit.
And so we find that if you just step it up a little bit and be better at communication, you immediately differentiate yourself. You'll start getting reviews, and we get reviews all the time. Or companies that use Chiirp get reviews all the time that say stuff like, oh, from the moment I requested information, they communicated perfectly through, and that's like this big deal to them.
Right.
And you wouldn't think it's such a big deal, but it's like, you know how it is. If they fix your home, but you didn't feel like it was good, the feeling is all that matters, right?
Or if you have to call a bunch of times.
Yeah, if you have to call, if you feel bad at the end of the transaction, even if your house is warm, you're not going to go back to those people. It's all about that feeling. If you can make them feel warm and fuzzy, right, throughout the whole thing, then they're going to keep coming back to you. And that simple communication that keeps them aware of the whole process, like where they're at in the process all the way through the customer journey. they're going to be super stoked and they're going to leave a good review about it.
And like you said, how many times have we trained the CSR or trained someone and then they say something and you're like, that is not what you were supposed to say.
Yeah.
Or they say it in a tone of voice and you're like,
Oh my gosh, when you're listening to those calls. But again, in technology like this, they're not missing. The conversation's the same every single time. And listen, I am a fan of AI. I am a fan of this because we use this in our business. But I also am a fan of people. I have no intentions of replacing our people, but we also know that we can only see so many people. We can only do so many things. And so there's a lot of cool things with automation that you can add into your business that would blow your mind.
Yeah, we should clarify that because we don't want people to think that we're trying to eliminate the human from the process of this.
right.
Chiirp is a blend of automation with real human interaction.
Right.
It's turning the humans you have into superhumans that can accomplish more.
I like that.
Okay, so then that makes me have another question because like I've specifically said, hey, we use this and we have a marketing manager in-house and she manages this. And I can tell you in our example, when there's a lead or something that comes through from Chiirp, it's immediately going through her. She's getting it on the board. She's getting it to the call center to handle. She's getting it to dispatch. For the average person that maybe doesn't have that marketing manager in-house, because technology can be a little defeating sometimes. How user-friendly is the interface?
So there, like anything, there's a learning curve. And with software, there's kind of two approaches that software companies can take. They can take, hey, let's make this really pretty, or let's make this really functional. It's kind of like, you can't really have both. It's hard to have both. It's a hard balance to strike. But we wanted like really extreme functionality. We wanted you to be able to do anything you could think of. And that has made it somewhat complicated, but we've balanced that out with when you do use Chiirp, you're assigned an automation expert. And so you can reach out at any time and say, hey, I have this idea to build this automation. And they can go, let's walk you through it. Let's set it up. And so you don't have to be an automation expert, but it is something you'll have to, there's a learning curve, but we've balanced it by putting those experts in place to make sure that, if you do have a cool idea, we can look at it and go, yep, this is how you're going to do it. Or say, hey, I don't think you want to do that. We have a better solution. Let's go through this and kind of guide you through how you should do it.
Do you have a favorite campaign?
So
I know I ask you this at different times just because I see the posts. I
have a new favorite campaign. It's always changing.
Yeah.
Right now we've seen some really good results. Lori Scholl from Eagle Pipe, she had some she helped us come up with this, but obviously financing is a big deal right now. So we work with GoodLeap with an integration there. But what do
you mean? What are you doing with GoodLeap?
Well, I'll explain.
Oh, that's what you're getting to?
No. So GoodLeap, if you don't know, is a great financing company. We have their link integrated into our system so that when I think it's at job booked. So at job booked, we're going to say, thank you so much for booking your call. And then another text message. By the way, we totally understand.
Ooh.
By the way, we totally understand that this could be, a big deal. And we want to make sure you have all your options in place. If you feel like financing might be important, go ahead and fill this out now and you'll be ready when we come.
And you've gotten positive feedback from that.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I've always been told, I like this, but then I've always been told that could be a red flag to the consumer. But you're right. Right now, financing is a huge deal.
Right now because people don't know.
No, but I like this, and you're getting positive feedback.
Yeah, it's going really well. And then think of it in terms of, again, back to laser targeting. If it's,
I need to write this down for later.
We can choose hey, if the estimate is higher than this number, then trigger that campaign. Or if it's a specific job type,
I'm going to beta test this.
Campaign.
Well, they always say we should assume that everyone needs financing because there's people that, I'm in one of the best practices groups that we always are talking about. And someone said, this customer has a Lamborghini and doesn't need financing. And someone said, well, actually, if he has a Lamborghini, then he's smart and knows not to use his own money and he wants your financing. And so we should always assume that the customer wants financing. So it's not even that we have to assume that maybe times are tough right now and you need this, but hey, just so you know, our technician's on the way, here's a link in case, hey, these are some options. I do that I try like heck to stay out of local Facebook groups.
I do too.
Oh, good Lord. I will tell you right now, that was single-handedly how we grew the business to where we got to before we needed marketing, right?
Yeah.
So I try to stay out of them. But anytime someone needs something, I always tag with, hey, I know right now this kind of stinks. Your pipes have burst, whatever. Yep. I know that's really hard. And we just came after Christmas. Just so you know, we offer financing for these things. And I always get a message on Messenger like, hey, can you tell me about that? Because they're like,
I'm going to do this when we get back.
Oh, yeah. Because, and I'm not saying, hey, you can't afford it. I'm just saying, man, it's freaking January. We just got out of Christmas season.
Is this just a broad one she's doing to ever, are you targeting it, like geo-targeting it?
No, it's when the customer books
right
on certain job types, the text will go out. Thank you so much for booking, by the way.
I could foresee like specifically like, hey, booked for a broken pipe.
Mm-hmm. Well, especially right now.
Right, yeah. Especially right now.
Like a broken pipe,
like
frozen,
Like my brain's just like, this is how I am immediately. Right. And so I've said this like a million times today. I'm a visionary, but I'm not an implementer. Yep. So I'll run to Kaylee and say, hey,
pretty
go
normal.
to Chiirp, right? For entrepreneurs, right? It's like someone else is going to figure that out. But let me know when it works, because I came up with it. But so I'll go to Kaylee and say, hey, see if Chiirp can do this. And that's something that's really, like you said, but I wanted to make sure that we reiterated is Chiirp is a tool. And they have some really great automations already created, but they're open to hear what you have. Just like Lori came up with this. And then sometimes, who's our guy with Chiirp? I forget.
Taylor. Yeah.
And Taylor, I know there's
Taylor is everyone's guy.
Yeah. Taylor,
everybody loves
at least
Taylor.
The original crew. Right?
Yeah.
Maybe. I bet you've
He's
come
an
past
OG.
Taylor. Taylor's probably like quit assigning me people. But I know there's been times that he's like, yo, bro, that ain't going to work.
Yeah.
Yeah,
totally.
Or, let's try it, And so.
Because we've had, there's some of the most obvious ones that sometimes people come up with and be like, hey, we've seen that doesn't.
How many touches does it take, do you think, after you leave a house? I know you guys stay up on all the statistics. Like when you leave a house and you didn't sell a job, how many more touches until you know it's a yes or no?
Oh man, it's different across different places. Different people have different temperaments and different thresholds for anger. I have some people that are like, one guy says to me, he's like, my policy is reach them or get a restraining order. Those are the things.
Oh my God.
It's one thing I'm like, that's
until you get a hard no.
Yeah, that's the most aggressive level. And then you have the people that are just like, I just want 3 touches, gentle.
Yeah.
But I would say it's kind of it's hard to say exactly how many touches. We just say 12 to 18 is like probably going to get you your max conversion, but over what a period of time, it's hard to say. 2 weeks is probably where you're going to be the most aggressive, and then you're going to drip slow, like 3 months, 6 months. We have people that say all the time, man, that 6-month text went out and they responded and I got a job. Yeah. And who would have followed up 6 months later? Nobody would have.
Most businesses' online presence is boring. And by being boring, they're losing out on potential sales and customers. Being interesting and exciting is what draws customers in and gets them to buy from you. But it's hard to be interesting online when you're focused on running your business and taking care of your customers. It doesn't have to be this way. We have the key to unlocking the solution to your problem. Key Heart Marketing can help take your business from boring to brilliant on social media. We can vouch for them. They run our podcast socials. If you want to have a strong social media presence that allows customers to know, like, and trust you, connect with Key Heart Marketing at keyheartmarketing.com.
This is crazy to me, okay? Because I was talking to our comfort advisors and I'm telling them, like, listen, I've sat through trainings. I have seen our inside sales. I know that it's 8 to 12 touches before we close one. And then I had a comfort advisor that's just like 8 to 12 times talking to someone. And I'm like, but think about it. Like, it's not like we're like, hey.
Yeah, it's touches.
You know what I mean? It's touches. It's an email. It's a text message. It's this. It is a phone call now. Or it's a voicemail drop. But when you do count them, we were seeing at that 8 to 12, a lot of times closer to 12. And it was over a period of time that it wasn't like 12. If you're calling someone on a phone 12 times in 48 hours, you probably do need a restraining order. Yeah. But that's not what we're doing here. But
please take me off this list.
But
that's a good point.
A human's not going to do that.
Yeah. First of all, humans never going to do it. You're never going to sit there and call somebody 12 times. And it's not as much as it sounds. It's not like it's not as aggressive. It's literally
not as aggressive. It's through a time.
Yeah, it's over time, and it's email, text, voicemail, which is different angles get different people's attention.
So we had ours set up to where, like comfort advisor goes out, and then if it didn't close today, within 24 hours, I'm sorry, they're getting a text message, I think same day.
Yep.
Within 24 hours, they're getting another text message and an email. At the 72 hours, someone from our office is giving a phone call.
Is that when you switch commissions after the 72 hours?
No, like because they're still get to own it because we're still directing them back to
I gotcha.
The salesperson. We're attempting to direct them back to the salesperson. But and then, they know, okay, and in the meantime, they might be still doing their own follow-up anyways. But those are just like natural reminders that it's like, and for the most part, our customers, anyone who knows technology or marketing, they probably know that's all automated. Some of them do. Some maybe don't, But for me, I always know when I'm getting that and I'm like, oh, I got to go do that, And so I think that it's just, again, the more communication that's happening.
Yeah.
Oh, we're so crazy busy now. Everybody's super busy. And you get hung up on like the messaging and like the wording of the text. Sometimes people are like, well, what should I say? What should I do this? And it's like, it is important, but really at the end of the day, just act as if you were texting your friend and type it out. Don't like overthink what you're going to say. Because a lot of times they won't even read the text all the way through. They're going to see it, see who it is, and it's like goes away. And so that's one touch that got a little bit further and a little bit further. So it's more about making them feel like their business is important. You want to follow up. You're not going to be too aggressive, but at least to a point where you're getting their attention where they finally go like, yes, I know. Yeah. And they finally make that leap to say yes.
Do you guys have a scheduling bot for the website?
So we don't have the schedule, just the one where they can, just like I said, where they can put their information either in a form or on the chat widget. And then the AI would start the conversation
to schedule right into Titan.
Yeah.
I know we asked, like, do you have a favorite campaign? Do you have a favorite like contractor story or something where you're just
that's a good one.
We really helped change that business?
So I recently had a guy reach out who was this was an interesting one because we've had companies come along and we've seen them. We had one recently that like they did an additional 500,000 in sales the first month they went.
That's wild.
So it's like those ones are kind of unrelatable because these are so 40, $50 million companies, And so those are awesome to see. But like I had one recently where it was a smaller company and the sales guy convinced his boss to let him use Chiirp, and he actually paid for it. And he reached out to me this year, so sometime in January recently, and was like, I just want to let you know that 2023 was the biggest year I've ever had as a sales guy. I made more money than I've ever made. And he kind of went over like some kind of being a little bit like, like you changed my life. I didn't want to go too far into it, but he was at least saying like,
just do it.
You've really changed me and my family's life with this. And it was like, that is where it's like, dang, that's cool. Pretty cool. Cause he's still doing the work. He's still closing the deals, but empowering him to have the tools to be able to do it more effectively means like everything to me as a
And he
CEO.
paid for it or his boss paid for it?
So he paid for it. Yeah. He ended up, cause he's just like, just let me use it.
Right.
And he paid for it.
But he saw the value.
Yeah. I gave him a deal because I knew he wasn't, it was a small company trying to make it work, but it was really cool to see him say that's like, awesome. Man, we've really, I've totally changed my life. So that's pretty cool. So.
That is really cool.
It is cool.
You can cast a wider net with that.
You can. And then we have to have some type of stories like that as like owners of whatever we do, right? I just think about like one of our employees coming in this year and was like, at the end of the year, he's like, hey, I just want to say thank you for helping me reach my goals. And, some days the days are hard and, and the days are long and so being able to reflect back on a story where you're just like, I created a software.
You have to hang on to those days.
You have to hold on to those.
Totally. Yeah.
Every time I talk to Ryan, I'm like, I am not using Chiirp till its like fullest capacity.
Oh, we are definitely not using Chiirp till its fullest capacity. And I'm the same way because I know we're using it.
It's a challenge that we face as a company because we've built it to do so many things that it's really hard to get everybody to adopt everything. It's like, man, you got to do this, but it's really hard to get everybody to do it because you guys run businesses.
There's so many
it's
good ideas.
And so, you kind of just have to adopt like how can we, and we've looked at like trying to implement like, do an automation a week kind of thing, or come up with something new every week, or, to add to it. Cause you really can't run out of, And we like to, it's hard sometimes because we do get somebody that's using it and they're using one thing. And then it's like, well, I don't need that one thing right now, so I'm going to turn it off. And you're like, no, don't, there's a million other things you could be doing. And so, yeah, we're trying to get past that. It's a challenge for us for sure. And something we're trying to tackle in 24. So,
yeah. And I think like,
you do have marketing companies that you partner with though, that will create campaigns.
Yeah.
Right?
That's one of the ways we're doing it is we work with like BXB, Lemon Seed, different agencies, Rhino.
Definitely like Relentless. Like I know that there's when we first signed up with Chiirp, Relentless already had some automations that they were working, like kind of like, hey, let's do
so we
these.
build it out. Yeah. So basically the company, the agency can have like their own like branded campaigns that they're like, these are the Rhino campaigns, you know? And then when you sign up with Chiirp through Rhino, you get all those pre-built campaigns and they go in and connect them all and have them all ready to go. So that's one of the ways we're tackling this, like, and getting people to use more features and more things.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. And we're implementing some automation to reach out to companies and say, hey, what have you done this month to you know, add more to Chiirp? And then we're part of what we're doing. Part of the problem has been our growth. Like you said, this year's been really crazy. So the automation experts, they're there for the companies. And if you reach out to them, they're going to help you. They haven't been able to proactively reach out to the companies and say, hey, let's do more together, because they're just really slam taking on new companies. So that's one thing we want to work on. We want to loosen up a little bit of their time so they can proactively reach out and say, hey, check out this new campaign this guy's doing. You should try it, that kind of thing.
And if you sign up with Chiirp and you just aren't sure what to do, ask for some of the companies that they are working with and call and talk to them.
Yeah.
Get some feedback. Because I think that's probably one of the best things that I've ever done as an owner is get direct feedback from someone already using a product and saying, because we can, as by nature, we're all salespeople. We are, right? This is what you do, is sell, and I sell, and that's what we do. But real, true, raw feedback is invaluable.
From the other companies, and
I need a CE, continuing education on Chiirp after this.
we have, it's like we have companies using it, and we can come up internally with campaigns all day long, but the people that come up with the best campaigns are the ones that are
in the business,
out in the business and trading. And so though we see people come up with really cool, just like the financing one. I didn't come up with that. Lori came up with that. And it's like, okay, now there's one. And then we don't like to, we like to make sure that if you are using Chiirp and you don't want your campaigns shared, we're not going to share your campaigns. But most people are cool to say, hey, go ahead and share this. You know, Lori was totally cool with sharing that. So, don't be afraid if you have a campaign that you don't want to share, we're not going to share it. But generally speaking, most time we have really cool stuff. You can talk to your expert and say, what have you seen other guys doing? And they'll have tons of different campaigns ready to go. So.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, we want to be mindful of your time. What if someone listening wanted to get in contact with Chiirp or sign up with Chiirp? What's the best way for them to do that?
So on our site, chiirp.com, CHIIRP, 2 I's in Chiirp, there's a schedule button for a demo. We require everybody to go through a demo. You got to know what you're buying. You got to know exactly what it is. We've had some people come along and be like, no, I know what I'm doing. I don't need it. Just sign me up. And then call us at midnight and say, I've got 4,000 messages going out at midnight tonight. Like they'll set up a campaign to send out messages and it's going out at midnight. And you're like, see, that's why we need to do a demo and train you on how to do these things. Because it's a loaded gun, right? It's like you can cause damage with it if you don't know what you're doing. And so you schedule a demo with a member of our team. They're going to walk through the entire platform, show you all the different strategies people are using, how it works. And really, we are not a hard sell company at all. We are very much, hey, check this out, compare it to anybody else out there. If you want to compare it to the competition, we're confident that what we have is the strongest in the marketplace. And so, take your time, figure out if this is going to be a good fit for your business. And then we're going to help you, onboard you, walk you through the process of getting it set up. And you can have campaigns going within a week of signing up.
Awesome. So Chiirp is with 2 I's.
Yep.
We appreciate you being a sponsor of Power Women of the Trades podcast and being a marketing partner for both of our companies.
Right.
And also I'd like to just throw this out here. The cost is not something I'm going to say on air, but the cost of what he is offering is 9 million times worth it and probably due for an increase. It's something that's affordable and something that you should seriously consider adding for your business.
Yeah, we're partnering with a company called Searchlight. They do data, and We recently looked at 70 companies using Chiirp, and we dove into their data. And we increased across the board, 70 companies. The average increase in sales was $70,000 in the month of November.
Whoa.
So based on what they're paying us, the ROI is stupid.
Yeah, it is.
Stupid. It's nothing. There's a significant ROI on 70 grand. I can tell you that right now. So anyways, thank you so much for coming in to hang out with us. And we can't wait to see what 2024 looks for all of us.
Thanks for having me. It's been fun.
Thanks for flying out.
Got it.
This has been Power Women of the Trades. Like what you hear so far? Leave us a review at Apple and make sure to listen to our other episodes wherever you enjoy listening to your podcasts. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you on the next one.